Max Payne, guys, is a franchise that I've talked about on the YouTube channel about, the hopes and the possibilities of a Max Payne 4 coming out. And in this segment of the show, guys, I want to talk about why Max Payne 4, out of all the franchises out there, why this is a game and a franchise that should continue and why Max Payne 4 should exist. So let's talk about it. Guys, Max Payne, and I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of people within the Max Payne community, that being people on Reddit and on Facebook and, all over social media, right? People, that I've talked to stating that Max Payne deserves to continue. It's not just a franchise that is, it's like a staple in gaming to an extent. It's got an incredible narrative and it's just it's really a fan favorite when it comes to like Rockstar Games, even though, of course, it's a much smaller franchise than, say, GTA or Red Dead Redemption. However, guys, I will say this. Max Payne, even though the first two were, I loved the first two. I thought that, I would honestly say that the first one was probably my favorite out of the entire, series so far. And then the third one was probably my second favorite. And then, of course, the second one I would probably put as my least favorite. But it really felt to me, guys, that the third one, even though it felt like Max Payne's story was over to a degree, I still think there's a lot of story left to be told. And here's why. Look, I just think, guys, that this is a world that deserves to continue to be explored. I'd love to see a Max Payne title, say Max Payne 4, that is semi-open world to an open world setting where we can really dive into this thing and in multiple ways, more so than just playing it for the campaign, even though we love the narrative, obviously, but we also want to continue coming back to the franchise. And like GTA Online and Red Dead Online, Max Payne Online, I think, could be something really special. They tried a multiplayer experience, and people enjoyed it. People did like it. I liked it a lot. But it wasn't, obviously, it was kind of almost like a test subject for Rockstar. And not saying that, they were, that they kind of half-assed it, because they didn't. They were really, trying to make the online modes, big for Max Payne. But I think now that they know really what they're doing, they have kind of a business model for multiplayer games, that being like Red Dead and GTA. Why not do it with Max Payne? Why not do a Max Payne Online? I think that they could do a ton of different stuff in the Max Payne universe. On top of that, guys, obviously, what's a Max Payne game without playing as Max Payne? But here's the thing. What if we played as a very young Max Payne, like when he was younger, right? Kind of get his backstory in a major way, kind of leading up to, kind of almost like a prequel to the first three Max Payne games. And, I didn't really like the setting of Max Payne 3. I really enjoyed how, I'd like to go back into the city. I thought it was something about the city and something about, going into different buildings and it's very, snowy and just kind of just this dark, dreary, kind of gritty title. Whereas with Max Payne 3, it felt kind of, that it was going on the other side, the other extreme, like very, a lot more, even though there was, different settings and stuff and different environments, it just felt kind of like the stakes weren't as high in Max Payne 3 for some reason. Even though I really enjoyed the game, it felt like at times stakes weren't very high. And in Max Payne 2, it was kind of like a balance in between. There was, more of a love story or, and things of that nature. So it was kind of more in the middle between like narrative, environments, and kind of going back to the basics of what, Max Payne was, which, very gritty and dark. I want to go back to that dark and gritty feel, but I also would like to see the early years of Max Payne. Think of like Uncharted or some of these other games that have come out, guys, where, like with Uncharted, you play as Nathan Drake, but you, in the last game in A Thief's End, I think it was A Thief's End, where you played as, when he was a younger kid, in certain segments of that game, you kind of go back in time and you see what it was like for him growing up and such. Things like that I think would be really cool for a Max Payne title. Now, would I want him to be like really young, or would I rather him just be like a young guy? I mean, well, Max Payne, when it first started, I can't quite remember how old he was, but I still think that when we're talking about this as a prequel, or if we talk about like continuing it, that he comes out of retirement for whatever reason, or he comes back somehow or another, he comes back, his story's not over yet, and it continues. Why not? I think everyone would be totally cool with that, especially if there was a multitude of other ways you could connect with this franchise, that being like multiplayer modes, or a Max Payne Online, some co-op modes and things of that nature. Guys, this is a staple in gaming, and there's just no debate about it. I mean, this is a game that's spanned since the original Xbox, right? I mean, it's gone back years, and now that Rockstar has it, it's like Rockstar, they take their time with their projects, and there's a very good chance that Max Payne is coming, Max Payne 4. With Bully being set to the wayside, and then GTA 6 is kind of in the forefront here, what would come after GTA 6? Would it be a brand new IP for Rockstar? Would it be LA Noire 2? Would it be Red Dead Redemption 3, which I don't think they would do this soon? Max Payne is the other title. And I think Max Payne, why wouldn't you do a Max Payne 4 and have a Max Payne Online, and it just kind of goes with their other IPs. Continue building what they've started here with Red Dead and GTA. I just think, guys, it's a series ripe and primed, and people want a Max Payne 4. Here's what it's going to come down to, though, guys. It's going to come down to the community. It's going to come down to all of us telling Rockstar what it is we want. We want a Max Payne 4. We want to have multiple ways we can connect with this franchise and continue it. Now, Rockstar may think, you know what, we don't think the direction is really good for the series. Look, if they want to keep it as a trilogy, even though it really never felt like a trilogy, it felt like 3 games, but it always felt like we were going to see a continuation at some point or another, and we just haven't seen that as of yet. It needs to exist, guys. I think Max Payne 4 should exist because the community wants it, because it's a franchise that's a staple in gaming. There's still way more Max Payne, I believe, story to be told. I would love to see a continuation of this franchise, and I think a lot of other people would agree with me when we say that this is a franchise that is primed, ripe, in its time for a continuation of this franchise, because of exactly what I was saying. Even if we got one more Max Payne and it had a big, online mode like GTA and Red Dead Online, and it had co-op modes, and it had DLC that came out over time, and it had different things that we could do to continue connecting with the franchise, and it comes out on the next-gen consoles, I think we would all be really happy with that. I mean, we would always want to see continuations of the franchise, but I would like it to go back as a prequel, or in the future, a little bit further in the future with Max Payne. And maybe in the series, he passes the torch on to someone else, and that other person takes the helm. Something like that, guys, is not beyond, imagination. Even though it's called Max Payne and it's all about Max Payne, you never know. And I think that there's a multitude of ideas that could come out of this. Lots of different ways in which Rockstar could go. But let me know, what do you guys want to see in Max Payne 4? Do you think this is a game that should exist? Do you think it's a game that, it's good enough with the 3 games and you're fine with it? Or do you want to see a continuation? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Max Payne 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.